It's no secret that New York City renters are burdened by the high upfront costs of moving, which include broker fees. Unlike nearly all other places in the country, most New York City tenants have to pay real estate brokers, even when landlords hired them. So if you're a New York City renter and you haven't already heard, let us break the news. The way broker fees work is changing. In November 2024, the New York City Council passed the Fairness in Apartment Rental Expenses Act, also known as the FAIR Act. This law primarily impacts New York City's rental market, making broker fees the responsibility of the party that hires the broker, which in many cases is not the tenant. The FAIR Act, which passed with a veto-proof majority, became law on December 14, 2024. However, it won't actually go into effect until at least mid-June 2025. In the meantime, if you're a New York City renter, you're probably wondering, how will this affect me? Not to worry. In this episode of StreetEasy Home School, we'll explain everything you need to know about the FAIR Act, from potential impacts for New York City renters to why we believe this law will be good for the entire market. I'm Sinead Ortuzar, and welcome back to StreetEasy Home School. Here's what we'll cover today: the details of the FAIR Act, how these changes could impact renters, and why StreetEasy believes the FAIR Act will be good for everyone involved. Let's start with the details of the FAIR Act. First, the law shifts the responsibility for broker fees to the party that hires the broker, which in most cases is the landlord. This is a big change. Currently, the tenant is usually responsible for the broker fee in rental transactions, even if the broker was hired by the landlord. This fee typically ranges from 1 month's rent to 15% of the annual rent. After the law takes effect, the only time a renter will pay a broker fee is if that renter decides to hire a broker directly to represent them. Second, the FAIR Act will require landlords or their brokers to disclose and advertise any tenant fees on their listings, as well as in rental agreements. This will add important transparency to the rental process and help you understand exactly how much you'll be asked to pay up front and per month. Let's turn now to the timeline for the law's rollout. The FAIR Act is set to take effect 180 days after becoming law, which would be in mid-June 2025, barring any delays due to ongoing litigation. So what happens before June? The answer is simple: there will be no changes for renters. New York City's current broker fee system remains in place until then, meaning renters can still be required to pay a broker fee to any agent hired by the landlord. So what are the likely impacts for renters once the law takes effect? For starters, the upfront cost of moving in New York City should drop significantly. In 2024, the average upfront cost to move into a New York City rental with a broker fee rose to a record-breaking $12,951. This includes the broker fee, first month's rent, and security deposit. According to StreetEasy's analysis, we anticipate that post-FAIR Act, in apartments currently charging broker fees, the average cost to sign a lease will fall by 42% to around $7,500. This is lower than the current average upfront cost for a no-fee rental. Now let's address one of the most discussed aspects of the FAIR Act: its potential impact on rent. While opponents of the FAIR Act have argued that rents will sharply increase, with landlords baking the broker fee into monthly rents, history has shown that this is unlikely. According to StreetEasy data, in the past, rental properties that stopped charging tenants a broker fee did not increase rents beyond broader market trends. Over the past 3 years, asking rents for units that eliminated broker fees actually increased slower than rental units that continued charging them. And this discussion only applies to market rate apartments. All rent-stabilized and rent-controlled apartments have maximum rent increases set annually by the New York City Rent Guidelines Board. So why does StreetEasy believe the FAIR Act changes will be good for everyone involved? By reducing upfront costs, the FAIR Act will lower the financial barrier to securing an apartment. We predict this will allow more New York City renters to be able to move within the city, which will improve the availability of rentals. This would lead to a healthier market for renters, brokers, and landlords alike. The FAIR Act will also bring added transparency to the rental process. Ensuring there are no hidden fees will help renters better understand what they can afford. This law is a step in the right direction toward improving the overall housing market in New York. By lowering the upfront cost of moving, we can open doors for tens of thousands of renters who are unable to move, while ensuring agents are paid fairly for their valuable work. For more information about the rental process in New York or working with a renter's agent, visit our blog, which is linked below. We look forward to helping you unlock life's next chapter. Thanks for watching.